Rob, Supersillyus here, and I was asked on behalf of Gravitas to show you all a look inside one of my tunes and a little bit into the methodology or theory behind one of my tracks that's in an odd time signature, and basically show you guys a little bit of how I pull that off. And I say pull that off because I have this theory that when you do something in an odd time signature, uh, it's not just about typing 7/4 into a grid and then just throwing whatever fits into that box. It's You have to sort of put a bit of work into making a beat like that make sense for an audience that isn't used to hearing it. Most people are used to hearing and dancing to music that's in 4/4. So if you're going to present them a rhythm that's in a time signature they're not used to dancing to, their body doesn't have that muscle memory yet, you kind of have to finesse it a little bit, or in a more dramatic sense, you have to trick people into dancing to it. And so what I have open here is a stemmed out version of my tune Aeon Bahamut. And figured this was a little bit easier, just having 13 stems, much easier than showing you guys the full session, which has hundreds of channels and is frankly quite a mess. But this will illustrate, I think, quite well a bit of the tricks that I use that I think help an audience's brain and body digest these strange rhythms, because was it George Clinton says, free your mind and your ass will follow. So if I can free your mind for you, your ass is going to dance to it. But that does require doing a little bit of work on my end. So here's a bit of what I do. Here, let's play the track first. It's just a loop. So that's a groove that I got going on in 7, and if I play just certain elements like just the bass or just the kick drum, it doesn't necessarily have that full grabbing you yet. But one of the things that I like to do, the bass, is you can kind of hear it, but you can definitely see it, is I have the kick drum that's on the 1 just a little bit louder than the kick drums that are everywhere else. I definitely think having dynamics on the kick drum pulse really help sort of guide people towards which is the one they're supposed to bounce to on that 1, But even still, the kick drums in the middle, not necessarily on main big numbers, so we need other things to help us besides just having a big kick drum on the 1. Another thing I like to do is use percussive sounds that also indicate where the 1 is, or where a 1 is about to happen. Like something that at the end of the phrase I'll usually have like either a fill, or even down here there's this like synth line that just sort of indicates that the 1 is coming. And so if you can anticipate it, it becomes a little less I'd say difficult to process, but still that kick drum is a little weird. So one thing that definitely seals the deal on creating this for you is the hi-hats. Now the hi-hats, what I have here, it's literally just counting quarter notes in 4, but then obviously cut at the 7 and then repeating again. So you literally just have a and so the hi-hat's literally counting 1, 2, 3, 4, and then starting over at, would be like the 3.5 of the 7. But by the time you get all the way to here, your brain and I guess your body or whatever has already counted normally to 4, and your brain's used to counting 1, 2, 3, 4. So by the time you already get there, your body's counting in time, and so the switchback where instead of counting another quarter note, it comes back on on this one, I think definitely help, and you can hear it when it comes back in. Or I have. I'll bring the hi-hats in on the next go around. That sort of slow count adds this element of very basic familiarity that anyone can count that 1, 2, 3, 4. And before even realizing it, you're resolving where the 7 actually happens. And that allows that sort of polyrhythm that's happening here between the kick drum, just the straight kick drum, and the hi-hat. It's like a 4/7. That's something I see used a lot. Definitely having the 4 count over anything with the polyrhythm, especially not using the kick drum for it, makes it, I think definitely helps. I use this a lot in my song, just having a basic pulse behind it, even when it resolves not on the 4 where a person would normally expect it to. It starts counting them right back up again, and it just keeps winding people back into it. And that, combined with the other indicators, I think help make it possible for people to digest this even on the first listen, which is ultimately my goal. I don't want people to necessarily have to work that hard. I want people to enjoy it. And if I can get people to enjoy the groove, especially with the hi-hats there, I can edit. It gives me all this room to add all these goofy sound effects and glitches and percussions and whatnot that are definitely not trying to guide you in any sort of specific direction, but once everything else sort of establishes that you're on these rails and your brain can become comfortable with it, it leaves room for a lot of experimentation. That's sort of the backbone behind how I always feel like odd time signatures can be pulled off in a dance floor environment. You know, there's definitely places where you can get super experimental and try all sorts of odd jazz rhythms and whatnot. But I think if you're gonna get into like a club setting or any sort of venue setting where people are kind of coming to dance, you know, being deliberately alienating is fun sometimes, but not all the time. So when I like the challenge of having to sort of crunch the numbers for my audience and being able to you know, trick them into dancing to my weird shit. And these are the ways that I do it. I hope that